Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. I tried to make a video earlier on a specific topic and I'm just not in like the greatest mood, I guess, the past couple of days or the past day or so. So it makes it harder for me to really come from a good place and give more of a balanced view about things. So I actually thought that I would allow myself to not talk about that topic because I haven't planned to make this video. Like I have ideas in my head, I just need to write them down so I've got like a proper order to say the video, like to say the things in rather than just rambling on and on and on and having a negative vibe to the video, if that makes sense. And I thought I would just maybe just have a rant instead today because that's what I'm going with, and just like, yeah, have a rant basically about something that bothers me and may bother you as well, in particular people who have ADHD. But it's not just ADHD, it's other conditions as well. If you have like a condition or you know someone who has a condition and they don't really know what it's like because either they haven't studied it, they haven't listened to the perspective of the person who's dealing with it, or they have not dealt with it themselves. And ADHD seems to be one of those very common ones that a lot of people either think they, just that a lot of people think they know what it is when they have no idea about what it is. It's actually a lot to do with certain chemicals in your brain, and it's not something that's technically, I would say all disorders are made up. I don't want to trigger anyone by saying that, but as humans we have taken these problems that people are dealing with and put them into a disorder category or a condition in order to help treat them. And that's like the reason why we've done that. And I know the whole pharmaceutical industry can be seen as corrupt, for sure it can be seen as corrupt, particularly in America. Thankfully I am not American and you know, yet the UK system has its own issues, like, but America is just not going to get into that. If I wanted to rant about America, I could spend hours doing so after the things that I have seen, and I mean more factual stuff, not just opinionated stuff that I've seen that really just shocks me so much. But that is not what this video is about. I'm saying that more for me so to get back on track of what this video is about. You know, I go through life hearing, I've gone through life hearing about what other people think ADHD is, and that's why I didn't know that I had ADHD, because I didn't know that what I was going through, I didn't know it from the first person perspective. And I think that's really important to actually understanding a condition, is actually listening to people's experience with the condition, but also being aware that, you know, one person's experience isn't everybody's experience with the condition. Or as ADHD is known as a disorder, like ADHD is the worstly named condition ever. It's like literally making out that you have a deficit in attention, and it's making out that you are hyperactive, when actually so many people who have ADHD don't even have the hyperactive component, they have the inattentive type. But ultimately it's not okay. Like, I don't like that they have taken them and put them in one name as ADHD. They could have picked a completely different name that suggests that it's disorders, which is like a range of disorders in one. But no, ADHD is what the name that they decided to change it to. They changed ADD, which even then is not like described very well. I think things like that should be given a totally different name. Like, you have like syndromes and disorders and stuff that are just named a certain way because of the person who maybe discovered them or something like that, you know. Naming something which, yes, it has something to do with attention regulation, but it doesn't have necessarily a problem with attention deficit. Like, yes, people with ADHD struggle to concentrate at times and focus at times, but it's because there's so much going on in their heads that's like, and so much going on around them, it's just overstimulating, over distracting all the time, that you can't focus. And then the opposite of that is when people with ADHD can also like have the opposite, which is hyperfocus, which is so much is going on, but they can just zone in. And my preferred way to hyperfocus was always to play music and then just work that way. And by doing that, I was literally able to like get so much done, and hours would pass and I would not realize that hours have passed. And so as you can see, it's a difficulty to regulate attention, because I was always like, well, I can focus, I can do it, but it was more the regulation of attention. So the name just doesn't work for it for a start. And again, you know, like I said, not everybody with ADHD is hyperactive. Normally I saw it more of like a hyperactive mind, and that's very misleading, because a lot of people think that like ADHD is something that children can just have, that it would be really obvious if children had it, because they'd be really distracting in class, they'd be really hyperactive, and they'd be the naughty child, right? When I was really, really good at school, there's just so much ignorance and so much misleading information out there, not just because of the name, but because of what other people say about ADHD. And because ADHD isn't diagnosed as much as it should be, in my personal opinion. There's a lot of adults who get diagnosed, and adults shouldn't be getting diagnosed. It should be picked up when they're younger in life, but it just doesn't, because people don't really know fully about it, and there's so many misconceptions about ADHD that people just make assumptions. And I think what I have learned from having ADHD myself is that I have learned not to assume anything about anyone else's condition, and not to judge them, and not to assume something. Like, I have ideas of maybe what OCD is, but even I've looked into OCD to understand it a bit better. But you know, not everybody will be willing to do that. So many people are just going to continue to be ignorant to it, which causes more problems. But I think if you can take anything from if I could take anything from what I've been through with people's misconceptions about ADHD, it's that, you know, if you think you have something, you've got to trust that and then try and seek a diagnosis. That's really, really important. And again, not to assume things about other people and their conditions, and to actually ask them about it. So if someone says that they think they have a condition, not to go, oh, I don't think you have that condition, oh, you don't seem to have that condition. Like, that can actually be offensive. But instead to be like, oh, what's that like for you? Like, you know, and ask questions about it if you're interested. You know, when I got diagnosed with ADHD, nobody was interested in asking me any questions about it. Nobody asked me anything about it, actually. And, you know, some people, I said, before I got diagnosed with ADHD, I said to some people, I think I have ADHD, and they told me that I didn't have it. Probably because their own misconceptions, that it's, you know, they have someone in their family who's like hyperactive. Someone told me that, they had someone in their family who's hyperactive and is given ADHD medicine, and it really numbs them out, and they don't believe in medication because of that one experience that they saw. There's so much misinformation about medication. Like, that documentary, was it Take Your Pills, is like, I've not seen it myself because I daren't watch it because I think it would make me angry, but I have been made angry by watching other people's responses to it. And How to ADHD has a really good video on that, but it makes people afraid to take medication, and that is not what should be happening. These people just assume like people with ADHD should not take medication for it. Even people with ADHD don't think they should take medication for it, when it's the only way to actually treat ADHD. And it's obviously a very personal choice. If you choose not to take medication, or, you know, you haven't had much luck with it, it's a very personal choice not to take medication. But if you're doing that just because you're afraid, where is that fear coming from? Like, I was afraid, but I made a list of pros and cons and realised that there were way more pros, and I had to give myself a chance. And if it didn't work, and if I didn't like it, and if there were loads of side effects and everything, I could just stop taking it. That was the thing that I realised. Actually, it was worth giving myself this chance because I was so miserable with ADHD. Like, my mind was just constantly buzzing all the time, and it was insane. Like, it would just, the thoughts in my head were just exploding basically, and I would just think so many things at once and be distracted by so many different things at once, and I was so overwhelmed all the time. I couldn't live like that, and I would never ever go back to not taking medication unless like it was giving me serious side effects or longer term like issues. For I think the quality of my life has improved that much that there's no way that I don't think it. I mean, I think it would take a lot for me to be like, no, I'm not going to take this medication anymore. I had a comment. This all came from this one comment because I was thinking about this anyway. But I had a comment from someone who was literally saying that pretty much that they were afraid of what would happen if they couldn't get hold of the like if they decided to take medication. They were afraid that they couldn't get hold of it, and it would be cataclysmic if they couldn't get hold of the medication. Like, I get my medication 2 weeks early. I try and get it earlier if I can, to make sure that I have it, especially as sometimes it can be a little bit difficult getting that particular medication, and my pharmacy at the doctor's actually always have it in now, but in the past they couldn't get hold of it, so I had to go to a different chemist. That was it. And so I always make sure that I can get hold of it earlier, and if I couldn't get it for whatever reason, I would just have to suffer. And I'm not afraid that that's going to happen anymore. Like, I used to be afraid that would happen. Like, that definitely was a little fear that I had. But I'm not afraid of that anymore because I always think, well, I'm so grateful that I've had this opportunity to take this medication and improve the quality of my life so much and give myself a chance at like a happier life. Or not even a happier life, just an easier life, a life with less suffering, and not a normal life, but like, everybody has their own difficulties and problems in life, but when you're suffering with a condition like mental, physical, whatever it is, it can be life-destroying, like literally life-destroying. And with ADHD, I've read in several different places that your lifespan, your life expectancy is a lot lower, and it makes complete sense. Like, people commit suicide, but obviously that's not the only reason why. It's people are more impulsive and take more risks and things like that, and it can be really damaging in certain ways, in our society anyway. So would I rather just carry on suffering or not? And I remember thinking before I started taking medication, like I was definitely anxious about it, but I had a lot of anxiety back then, whereas now my anxiety levels are a lot lower because the anxiety was being caused by ADHD. And also I was having some emotional regulation problems because ADHD can also cause emotional regulation issues, and they're kind of resolved now. I used to think that a lot of my emotional stuff was caused by something else, and I'd always try and put something like a name to it or try and figure out why it was, when actually it was just being caused by ADHD. And so being able to treat that issue as well was really, really beneficial to my life. And I just, I was afraid to take medication, but I started taking it and I felt calmness that I'd never felt in my entire life. Like, my mind was calm for like the first time ever. Like, I'd done meditation and stuff like that, and it definitely helped, but to actually not have to meditate. Like, I used to meditate and I could feel calm during that time, but then afterwards it would just go back to normal again. It wasn't a cure for it or anything like that. And I realised, how was I living without medication? How was I was just surviving. And so to go that long without medication, and then to take it and realise how much I had been suffering in the past, like, gosh, I am so grateful for getting diagnosed and getting medication. Oh, a squirrel! There's actually a squirrel in front of me. Oh, that's adorable. Yeah, I'm actually really, really grateful for it, and I have to keep reminding myself what it was like before the medication, and it helps me to stay really, really humble and grateful for it. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I did actually up my medication to 30 milligrams this year, and I've seen even more improvements from doing so. Previously, I felt really, really tired on the 30 milligrams, so I stopped it. But actually, I felt tired for a few days, and then it went away this time. And so, you know, in the future, I might even up it even more. But I'm just really happy with the 30 right now. I think 40 is generally the minimum adult dose, so I'm still not quite like there, but the medication just helps me that much, and I can see that much of an improvement with a small dose. So that's really great, I think. But yeah, since I put that video up about my medication, I've been receiving like an influx of questions, and I don't want to say praise, but like thanks and gratitude for helping people. And I've actually had many comments and messages from people saying that if it wasn't for my video, they wouldn't have bothered getting diagnosed, they wouldn't have bothered like taking medication and stuff like that, and they were really like grateful that I was able to help them with that. And that's why like I will never get rid of that particular video, because it's helped that many people, and it makes me feel really good to help people in that way, because I know what it was like for me. So I just want to say thanks for like sharing stories with me through that, and from my Instagram and things like that. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope to add more valuable content in the future on my channel. So I don't want to say that definitely I will, what I'll definitely be making, because it could always change. But yeah, so thanks for watching my rant slash, I think it turned into something different than a rant maybe. I think it was a rant. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.